Hello. Today is Thursday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. The market was not loving it today, though. Dow down over 100 points. Nasdaq actually finished positive for today, although not by much. Not a lot of big movers again today. I don't think there's anything over there. Just one stock um, down over 10%. We'll talk about that. We'll get to the winners first. Tencent Music. We've talked about that one before. That is it's a spin-off from the big Tencent company in China. I didn't realize how big of a company Tencent Music was. They IPO'd in the US here not too long ago. Stock is actually about at a high right now, 17. It started out right around the $12 to $14 range. Now it's at 17. It's actually worth $28 billion, and this is just a spin-off from a larger company called Tencent out of China. They're part of the BAT. Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent are the three big technology companies in China, kind of like the FANGs in the United States. So that was up 7% today. Interesting. I wouldn't mind having a share of the entire Tencent company, but just the music portion, I'm not too sure. I don't know a lot about it, so that's why I haven't really put any money into it. But it's sure looking good so far. We'll see. We'll see if that can continue. Stock that I've followed for a long time, Sunpower. They are the solar um, manufacturer and installer. Sunpower. Man, these in let's see, what year was it? 2007. These solar panel companies were just soaring, kind of like 3D printing was at one time. There was just so much hype, and then they crashed with everything in 2007, 2008, and they never recovered. Um, if you look at the chart, SunPower was up to 100. It spiked up to over $160. $160. You know what it is right now, even after a 6% gain today? $6.29. Went from 160 to $6.29. That's not too far off its lows. I think it looks like it got down to around $5 here at the beginning of the year was the absolute low. Um, yeah, well, 2012 looked like it got down to under five, but man, it really recovered there. 2000 starting in 2013, and it went from five all the way up to 40 in a year and a half, 5 to 40, and now back down to six. So market cap is under $1 billion. Um, I was pretty interested in this company for a while, and I started doing some research on them, and I was reading some reviews. And maybe residential isn't the market that they're targeting anyway, but you should read the reviews on SunPower. It is amazing. Every review is just this is saying this is the worst company ever. If I could give them 0 stars, I would. Their ratings are just absolutely terrible with homeowners. So that kind of turned me off a little bit to SunPower. So as a stock, maybe there's some value there, but after reading all those reviews, I would sure never hire them to put solar panels on my roof. So I just follow it. I don't think I'll ever put any money into them. But actually, a company that did recover is not completely, but hasn't fallen this much is First Solar, FSLR. I don't see them making any gains today, but I mean, even SunPower today being up 6%, it says their revenues fell 15% in 2018. Quarter four loss narrower than expected. That's the only reason the stock was up. Revenues down. So, I don't see this company really going anywhere. Um, they'll probably stay in business, but I really don't think they'll ever get back anywhere near those highs. So just kind of an interesting company to follow, just to kind of see what happens to them, see what ends up, if they end up going bankrupt or getting bought out, or I just like to see what happens with those companies. So, those are the only two gainers on my watch list that were up over 5% today. It was Tencent Music and SunPower. The losers today, Inovio Pharmaceuticals, ticker symbol INO. This is a company I followed for a long time as well. I used to have a lot of hope in Inovio. They had a robust pipeline, all these different drugs they were testing and had a lot of promise. But all they've ever done is burn through money, uh, dilute shareholders by doing these share offerings, which they just did today, which is why the stock was down 21%. Um, just they've got one drug in a phase 3 trial, but even to get to that phase 3 trial, the drug was not very effective. It barely passed. I'm sure there's going to be another huge drop in this stock once the phase 3 trial fails. Reverse stock split they did a couple of years ago. Just you know, I used to have a lot of money into it. I actually made some money off the stock. It did have a really good run, in 2013, 2014 with the rest of the biotechs. And it's once it peaked, and I think it was 2014, it's just been going down ever since, just like I said, just because of all those reasons. Um, even at $3.69, I don't think I would touch an Ovio. I think I think they have too many costs. They're never going to be profitable. I don't think they'll ever have an approved marketed drug. It's just kind of a company that's just taking investor dollars, really. It's about all they're doing, wasting a bunch of money. Coca-Cola, it's a stock you don't see very often in the big movers group. Coca-Cola was down 8.5% today. Yeah, let's see why that. I'm guessing earnings. Let's see. Really say Coca-Cola's net sales slide. So sales going down for Coca-Cola. That doesn't really surprise me. I've actually kind of surprised that this hasn't happened sooner. Yeah, I mean, you do see a lot of people drinking Diet Coke still, I guess, but um, I got to think eventually that 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 market, and I know they have their hands in other things too. I think they make their own bottled water now and are getting into the CBD infused drinks and all that. But it's just it's well, it's I mean I shouldn't talk bad about the company. I mean, it's pretty amazing what they have done really with just a soda. The company they've built out of a soda. It's absolutely amazing to turn a drink into a $200 billion company, sugary drink. It's pretty fascinating, to be honest. But um, it's a big Warren Buffett stock too. He loves Coca-Cola. He's been a long time Coca-Cola shareholder. They do pay a 3% dividend. Price to earnings is 70. Wow, that's a really high price to earnings for an older company like that. I would never personally buy any Coca-Cola, but I follow it. Kind of like a lot of other stocks. I'm just curious to see what it does. But who knows? Maybe Coca-Cola will be around another 100 years. People will still be drinking Coke. I don't know. We'll see. Be interesting to see what happens there. Radius Health down almost 8% today. See what happened with Radius. Smaller company, I believe. This is their announce about to announce fourth quarter earnings. I don't know if they didn't say they did. Maybe there's just some nervous investors there. That's $800 million company. So yeah, not a very big company. Radius. I don't remember how I came across Radius Health. Probably just reading an article on another biotech company and came across this one and added it to my watch list. 2014, the stock was about $10, went all the way up to 80. It's just amazing how these biotech stocks just flew. If you can get your money in those biotech stocks a few years ago, oh my goodness. $10 all the way up to 80 in a short period of time. But you got to take profits because look what happened. Look, the stock is down to $17. So it's went from 80 down to 17 now. So, I don't know much. I don't know a whole lot about Radius Health, I guess. I don't own any Radius Health stock. So if you're interested in the, in the healthcare industry, might be one that you want to follow. If it is a good company, then now would be a good time to buy it. It looks possibly could have bottomed out, had a sharp drop under 15, and it kind of at 20. It had a hard time. Sometimes I don't know if it's psychological, but these stocks you get to like a range like that, like a $10 or $20, and they just can't seem to get through it. They just kind of bounce around right underneath it, and sometimes then they just crash. Sometimes it's I know you're leaving a little bit of money on the table. But sometimes it's smart to just let it get above 20 and then buy some. Sometimes when it breaks through that psychological $20 mark, then it just takes off, and goes to 30, 40, 50. So even though you're leaving a little bit on the table, you're also, shielding yourself from some of that risk if it doesn't break through $20. So, that's one that I would watch anyway. So I mean, ever some of these companies that I follow and don't look much into, I don't find out till later that maybe I should have looked into them because one day, they get bought out or something, or they have some drug trial that succeeds and it doubles the next day, and you're like, dang it, I should have had that on my watch list too. I should have looked into that one a little more. So, following as many that I do, it's hard to do in-depth research to every single company, but that's why I'm throwing that out there. If you're um, interested in that one, take a look at Radius Health. RDUS is the ticker symbol. What else we got here today? Not much. Those are the only three stocks that were down more than 5%: Radius, Coca-Cola, and Inovio. So let's see, Dow is still over 25,000. So Nasdaq right under 7,500. So markets are still holding up pretty good. Tomorrow's Friday. Don't anticipate a whole lot going on tomorrow. I think it'll probably be a low volume day. I don't think there'll be any big moves. Maybe be a few individual stocks that are making big moves, but we'll hopefully talk about that tomorrow. I got some work to do tomorrow, so I'm not 100% sure if I can make it. Maybe I'll make up for it over the weekend if I can't tomorrow. So with that, we will call it a day for today, and hopefully we got some news to talk about tomorrow.